This conference is the first of its kind. And so we know that we needed to build an ecosystem here because there was not, the loops in the ecosystem weren't coming together. And let me explain that a little bit. There is a lot of folks that are part of cybersecurity that are on the private sector side, that are really on the innovation side, that think the government doesn't want to hear about their innovation because they've got their own, right? And then the government is thinking, how do I reach into that innovation and see what's happening? And so there is a lot of people innovating things here, but there weren't any connectivity. So a lot of companies that were innovating in this area were leaving the DC area to go to Silicon Valley. So, there's been a real uprising over the last 5 years to build an ecosystem here. And so this type of conference hadn't taken place. And so we felt it was a necessity to raise awareness around the talent pool we have here and the companies that want to look at that innovation. So the cross-pollination of the larger companies here with the private sector. And I think based on what I've seen at this conference today, everybody's really excited about it because they hadn't had a chance to have their voices be heard, especially on the women's side, because there's a lot of women who are involved in technology and cybersecurity here. I don't see enough still of women supporting other women to get to the next level, to understand and educate themselves in this space. So I think that is something we could still do a lot more of. I think there's a core group that feels very comfortable, but I think there's a lot of women that tend to have that level of insecurity. And if they have been, some of them have been successful, they have a hard time translating that and helping other women because they maybe feel a little bit threatened. I think that is something I see a lot of. The drop-off rate for STEM in the early years is really, really important for people to understand. It's really hard to, all of us get excited about our kids when they're studying science and math, but there are less girls in the room studying science and math as they go up the ladder. We have STEM problems in the schools, but we also have STEM problems within our companies. So, for example, I'll give you a good example. At one of our sponsors here, who was really wanted to be part of this because they hire a lot of engineers, and they hire a lot of women engineers that come in from colleges. And they really want them to come through their programs and go into their teams. But they have a hard time really with the matriculation of being on an all-male team, and they don't see someone, they look around the room and they don't see someone that looks like them, and so they tend not to stay and they tend to leave. So STEM is important because we need more to stay at the education level, so there's more that look like them, and we also need diversity in STEM, and so everybody learns a little bit differently. And I think that's part of the problem with when you're solving tough math problems or science, that they think that everybody's going to solve that problem the same way, but people learn differently. And I think if we embrace that, I think we'd have more people in STEM. There really are several quadrants of risk around cybersecurity, and our biggest adversary in cybersecurity are the people that are causing harm to our corporations, our nation states, and also individuals at all different levels for crime as a service, ransomware, whatever it may be. And for us to be able to think like the adversary is really important. So we need to have almost like a creative box of thinkers at a table when we're trying to solve a problem around cybersecurity, because we need to understand what motivates people to do what they do. And we have to embrace that. So we can't have a technical voice overshadow somebody who maybe is not technical but understands sociology or understands emotional intelligence from a scientific perspective, because there is a science of emotional intelligence. So I think that when all those voices at the table get heard, those hard problems to solve are much easier to solve because you have a 360-degree view of the risk. So Mach 37 is a cyber accelerator here in Northern Virginia. It was really the first sort of industry focused just on cyber accelerator in the country, and it attracts companies from all over the globe. We've had 57 companies come through the accelerator, and we have several companies that have come from Ukraine and France and all over because they've heard about this program. So it is really there's no specific type of company that we're looking for, but we're looking for really key entrepreneurs who maybe are repeat entrepreneurs, or maybe people that have been in larger companies and they want to start their own company, but they're starting from a place where we hope to help them to accelerate the company faster. I think it's become an industry. Cybersecurity is, I think, now an industry, and I think it's going to be getting larger with critical infrastructure and with unmanned vehicles and drones and all of that needing security. I think that cities are going to become much more aware of the need for understanding cybersecurity, so with smart cities. So I would say don't hold back, and get out there and meet as many people as you can in this industry and figure out where's your spot and why, find a passion that you like about it, or create a job. There's people creating their own jobs in this field because it's such a new industry.